Hey lovelies! So I have to admit that since the arrival of autumn, I have been craving cozy comfort foods, which is why all month long I am sharing some of my very favorite hearty recipes the whole family will love. And today is no exception. I am actually going to be whipping up a big batch of this absolutely amazing spinach and artichoke gnocchi. And yes, my friends, it is just as decadent as it sounds. Now, if you love spinach and artichoke dip, you are absolutely going to adore this recipe, and you won't believe how easy it is to make. It comes together on the stove in under 15 minutes, so it is perfect for a busy weeknight. But it's so flavorful, your whole family will absolutely devour it. So I have got a nice big skillet heating up over the stove here, and to that I am going to add some butter. Now you can definitely use some oil in this recipe instead, but I love the butter because it adds richness and flavor to things that I can never get enough of. Now, as soon as that butter is nice and hot and bothered in our pan, we can go ahead and add our onion to this. We want to let our onion cook away until it's soft and translucent and gets nice and flavorful. The smell of onion frying in butter, what could make you want dinner more? So while my onions are cooking away here, I thought this would be a good time for a bit of a bump update. If any of you are following along, I'm now 20 weeks pregnant, and this little baby is now the size of a cantaloupe. And that's big. I honestly can't believe how quickly time is flying right now. I'm about halfway through this pregnancy and it feels like I just blinked. So I have to say all is well so far, knock on wood, and I am extra hungry. Now the next step here is going to be adding some garlic to my pan. So I'm gonna get my garlic right in there with my onion. I'm going to let that garlic heat up for about 30 seconds or so, or just until it's nice and flavorful. And then it's time to add my chicken broth to the pan. And I'm also going to be adding some cream cheese to the pan. So if you've ever had spinach and artichoke dip, you know it has this really beautiful tangy flavor, and that usually comes from the addition of something like cream cheese. It's important when you add it to your pan that your cream cheese be at room temperature, otherwise it will try to curdle when it hits the pan. We're just gonna let this cook up until it starts to smooth out. If you don't have cream cheese on hand, a good swap would be goat cheese in this recipe. It's got the same tang, but a bit more of an earthy flavor. Both will work really, really well here. Now you may notice at first that the cream cheese looks a little bit clumpy and funny, but as you sort of keep stirring this over 2 to 3 minutes and it heats up, that cream cheese is going to melt down and become fully incorporated into that liquid. And that's how you know it is time to add your next ingredient, which in this case is our gnocchi. Now, this is fresh gnocchi. You can usually find it in the deli aisle at your supermarket. And you probably noticed I've been cooking with a lot more gnocchi lately. First of all, Elle absolutely loves it. Second of all, it is perfect for weeknights because it takes like 3 to 4 minutes to cook up in a nice hot broth like this. So there is so much to love. Plus, it happens to taste really amazing. Once my gnocchi is in the pan, I'm going to go ahead and add even more great flavor here with some red pepper flakes and some oregano. Now, if you don't like the heat, of course, you always have the option to skip the red pepper flakes in this recipe. It is totally up to you. And at this point, all I want to do is give this a nice stir, and I'm going to let it simmer away over medium heat until that gnocchi is fully cooked, which usually is just between 3 and 4 minutes. What you'll notice is that the gnocchi becomes really soft and pillowy. So as soon as that gnocchi is fully cooked through and that sauce has started to thicken up, you know it's time to add the rest of your ingredients. Here I've got some baby spinach that I've just given a quick chop to. I'm going to get that into my skillet. You could also use frozen spinach here in a pinch if you had that on hand instead. I am also going to be stirring in some artichokes. So these are marinated artichokes. They come in a jar. You can usually find them in the same section as the pickles and the olives at your supermarket. They're really, really flavorful and honestly one of my favorite ingredients. We're going to give this a nice big stir just until that spinach is wilted, which as you probably know takes no time at all. You're looking at about a minute until it's totally incorporated and broken down in with your gnocchi. And then to kick up the flavor factor here even more, I am also going to be adding some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Now this is a must-add ingredient. It makes such a difference in the final flavor of this pasta dish, and you wanna make sure you get it well incorporated. It's also going to be what finishes off your sauce. The finale here, my dears, is just to hit this with some good salt and some pepper. Make sure it's nicely seasoned. Oh my gosh, guys, this smells absolutely incredible. Let's see if it tastes as good as it looks. So good. Now you could always serve this up with some chicken or some shrimp or some fish. All of those options would be great. But I truly enjoy this just as it is. It has become one of Greg's absolute favorite dishes, and Elle totally loves it too. A real family favorite. I hope you will give it a try for yourselves, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, this recipe, like all of my recipes, is available on healthymealplans.com, our amazing meal planning site that allows you to browse more than 1,000 recipes, drag and drop them into your weekly meal plan, and automatically generates your shopping list for the week. What could be more convenient? And finally, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because there's lots more deliciousness where this came from.